Greystone Castle, ancient, imposing, foreboding. It stood on a windswept moor, shrouded in mist and legend. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, their voices laced with fear. They told tales of vanished souls and restless spirits. Centuries-old secrets slept within Greystone's cold stone walls. Whispers of a tragic past echoed in its empty halls. It was a place of shadows and sorrow, where time stood still. Elias Croft, a young historian, arrived at Greystone's rusted gates. He was drawn by the castle's dark history, eager to unravel its mysteries. Elias had a thirst for knowledge, a hunger for the unknown. He stepped inside, the heavy oak door groaning shut behind him. The air grew cold, thick with the scent of damp stone and decay. Elias shivered, a sense of unease settling upon him. As Elias explored the castle, he noticed strange occurrences. Floorboards creaked beneath his feet, though he was alone. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, faint and indistinct. He dismissed them at first, attributing them to the wind whistling through the castle's many cracks and crevices. But as the day wore on, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Elias discovered a locked room at the end of a long, dusty corridor. The door was made of ancient oak, reinforced with iron bars. Curiosity gnawed at him. What secrets lay hidden within? He spent hours searching for the key, his fascination growing with each passing moment. Finally he found it, hidden within a dusty tome in the castle's library. Section 5. A Glimmer in the Dark. The key, ancient and worn, felt heavy in Elias's hand. It had been years since anyone had dared to turn it, and now, as it slid into the lock, it was as if the past itself was awakening. The metal groaned in protest, but finally, with a heavy thud, it turned. The key turned with a heavy thud. Elias took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The wood, swollen with age and neglect, creaked loudly, echoing in the silence. Each inch it moved seemed to resist, as if the house itself was reluctant to reveal its secrets. Elias pushed open the door, his heart pounding with anticipation. The air inside was stale, carrying the scent of forgotten memories and long-lost moments. He raised his lantern high, the small flame casting a feeble glow that barely pierced the darkness. The room was dark, shrouded in shadows. Every corner seemed to whisper tales of the past, stories that had been buried under layers of dust and time. The shadows danced on the walls, creating eerie shapes that played tricks on his eyes. He fumbled for his lantern, his hand trembling. The flame flickered uncertainly, as if unsure whether to stay or vanish into the void. Finally it steadied, casting a warm golden light that began to chase away the darkness. As the light flickered to life, it revealed a room frozen in time. The furniture, once grand and opulent, now stood as silent witnesses to the years gone by. Each piece was covered in a thick layer of dust, untouched and undisturbed. Cobwebs draped the furniture like ghostly shrouds. They hung from the ceiling, delicate yet resilient, a testament to the years of abandonment. The intricate patterns of the webs seemed almost beautiful in the lantern's glow, a stark contrast to the decay they symbolized. Dust lay thick upon the floor, undisturbed for centuries. Each step Elias took left a clear imprint, marking his path through the room. It was as if he was walking through history, each footprint a reminder of the passage of time and the stories that had been left behind. Section 6. The Portrait's Gaze. Elias's eyes fell upon a portrait hanging above the fireplace. The room was dimly lit, the flickering flames casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. As he approached the painting, he could feel a strange energy emanating from it, almost as if it were alive. It depicted a beautiful woman in a flowing gown, her eyes a piercing blue. Her gaze was intense, almost too real, as if she could see right through him. The details of the painting were exquisite, each brushstroke meticulously placed to capture her ethereal beauty. Her expression was serene, yet there was something unsettling about it. He felt an inexplicable chill as he met her gaze. It was as if the temperature in the room had dropped several degrees. His heart began to race and a sense of unease washed over him. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, not just by the woman in the portrait, but by something unseen, lurking in the shadows. The woman's eyes seemed to follow him as he moved, her enigmatic smile sending shivers down his spine. Who was she? He wondered if she had been someone of great importance or perhaps someone with a tragic story. The more he looked at her, the more questions filled his mind. Her presence was almost palpable, as if she were trying to communicate with him from beyond the canvas. And why was her portrait hidden away in this locked room? The room itself seemed to hold secrets, with its heavy drapes and antique furniture. It was clear that this was not a place meant to be found easily. Elias couldn't help but feel that he had stumbled upon something significant, something that had been deliberately concealed. The mystery of the portrait and the woman it depicted consumed his thoughts, leaving him with an overwhelming desire to uncover the truth. Section 7. Unmasking the Past. Elias discovered a hidden compartment behind the portrait. Inside he found a leather-bound diary, its pages filled with faded ink. It belonged to the woman in the portrait, Lady Eleanor Greystone. As he read her words, a tale of betrayal, madness, and murder unfolded before his eyes. Lady Eleanor had been brutally murdered within these very walls, her soul trapped for eternity. Section 8. The Sinister Surprise. Elias gasped as he read the final entry in the diary. Lady Eleanor's killer was none other than her own brother, driven by greed and lust for power. He had entombed her alive within the castle walls, but that wasn't the most terrifying part. Lady Eleanor swore vengeance upon her murderer and his descendants. A cold dread gripped Elias's heart. Section 9. A Haunting Revelation. As Elias stared at the final page, he heard a blood-curdling scream. The sound was so piercing it felt as though it was tearing through the very fabric of reality. His heart pounded in his chest and his hands began to tremble. He had read about the legends, the stories of the haunted castle, but he never truly believed them, until now. It echoed through the castle, chilling him to the bone. The walls seemed to close in on him, the shadows growing darker and more menacing. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind, felt like a sinister presence watching him. He could feel the weight of the castle's history bearing down on him, the countless souls that had perished within its walls. He realized with horror that he was not alone. The air grew colder, and he could see his breath forming misty clouds in front of him. He turned slowly, his eyes wide with fear, searching the darkness for the source of the scream. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible. Was it a trick of the light, a figment of his imagination, or something far more sinister? Standing behind him, her eyes burning with an eerie blue light, was Lady Eleanor. Her presence was both beautiful and terrifying, a ghostly figure draped in a flowing gown that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. Her eyes, once filled with life and love, now burned with a cold, vengeful fire. Elias could feel her anger, her pain, and her longing for revenge. Her spectral hand reached out, her touch icy cold. It felt as though the very essence of death was seeping into his skin, freezing his blood and paralyzing him with fear. He wanted to run, to scream, to escape the nightmare that had become his reality, but he was rooted to the spot, unable to move, unable to tear his eyes away from the ghostly figure before him. Elias had unleashed a sinister surprise, a vengeful spirit awakened after centuries of darkness. The legends were true, and he had become a part of the castle's dark history. Lady Eleanor's spirit, trapped for so long, had finally found a way to break free, and now she would stop at nothing to exact her revenge on those who had wronged her. Elias knew that he was in grave danger, and that the only way to survive was to uncover the truth behind the haunting and put Lady Eleanor's spirit to rest once and for all.